Hi everyone. So I'm going to very briefly go over just some things in the syllabus. You don't have to watch this if you want to read it all on your own and you have to do the syllabus quiz, but just in case you want to listen, I'll go over a few things. So I'm not going to spend much time on this, these first few pages, things you find in almost every syllabi. Please note my how to get in contact with me, anything you might need about disability or writing or academic skills. There's an online writing lab. I do give 5 points of extra credit for proof of taking part in the writing lab on paper, so that is good to know. Instructions or rights about recording classes. Do read this about mandatory reporting. Instructors are mandatory reporters, so if we learn any information, if any information is shared with us about sexual misconduct, abuse, harassment, anything like that, we are required by law to tell. These are the course objectives. Please note we do use the 9th edition of the Developing Person Through the Lifespan. If you have the 8th edition, you might be okay. That's just fine, but just know there are some changes between the two. Important dates, February 21st is both the non-attendance drop date. So if you have not done the 3 requirements for attendance, I will drop you from the class. And I don't want to, but that's kind of the requirements to show me that you are in attendance and planning to be. The drop date with refund is also February 21st. So if you get a look at the syllabus and you realize that, this is not the time for this level of commitment to the class for you, then please do that. I would rather you get your money back than get too far in and can't. Please read this. To copy word for word from any source is considered plagiarism. You have quite a few pieces of writing to do in this class. You cannot copy word for word ever under any circumstances. Now, okay, yes, if you put it in quotation marks, but that should be used so rarely and for such short little things that you don't just quote a whole paper or a whole paragraph or anything like that. So best not to do that. You must paraphrase things, put things in your own words. I am pretty good at telling when things are in the words of a student and when they are not. And all papers will go through originality, reporting, scanning through D2L. So please do not, this happens every semester, do not write anything, copy and paste anything from any source and put it as your own. And you must, even if you cite it, it should be, you are citing the idea. You are not citing the word for the words used. So any idea you use should be cited that comes from somebody else, but that should be stated in your own words. Okay. Orientation, which you should have done. Life, please read that. Understand that I know that life happens. Things come out of left field. We don't know. We don't expect. I expect you to make the decisions that are best and right for you, even if that includes withdrawing or dropping the class. I uphold the syllabus as often as possible, but do highly encourage you to speak to me in the cases of emergencies. Please read this. Email attachments and Dropbox assignments must be in Word or PDF format. Just keep it to that. I have had trouble with too many formats, like pages in D2L, and some other formats and so forth. So if you can get your things in PDF or Word, they should be fine. Just try to keep to that. So I have a whole thing here, and I ask you to read it. Rules of engagement and etiquette. You have discussion questions, discussion posts in this class. So, and they're a big part of the class. So please remember that, such a large percentage of communication between human beings is nonverbal, and we don't have that when we're doing discussion posts. So our words are very important in how we address situations. Please no screaming. Best to avoid sarcasm, even if that's your humor, unless you somehow let people know that it's innocent or something. But sarcasm in a wholly verbal environment is going to be difficult for people to understand. I expect you to read all of this and to follow it. I'm not going to go through it all here. Good discussions are meant to share and spark ideas, even ignite debate. Disagreement is okay. It's all in how we do it. We're all different people. Curiosity is the best stance. If you don't agree with someone, be curious about their answer and their questions, rather than defensive or argumentative. Take the curious stance. I even give guidelines on step by step before you write an original post and a reply post. If you are seasoned online students, you know all of this and how to do this, but these are just some ideas. Please know I will read all posts. I will at least try to read all posts, all original posts at least, and I will always be randomly reading reply posts and so forth. I am open to all views being shared and want all voices to feel comfortable being heard. I realize that in face-to-face classrooms, it's hard for some people to be heard. They're not comfortable speaking up. This is a different forum, and I want all voices to have a safe space to be heard. Disagreement is okay. But if there is any outright rude or offensive bullying or attacking comments made, I will, 1, be immediately in touch with both parties, ask the offended party if they'd like to comment, if they'd like the comment to be removed or would like to respond to it themselves in a productive manner. You're grown-ups, and if you want to handle I encourage you to handle these things, though I have to mediate how that's handled to some extent so that the environment remains safe for all. Give the offending party the opportunity to rewrite the post, understanding that sometimes we don't understand how our words come off in this particular environment and community. But if the same person seems to do this over and over again in discussions, they will fail the discussion component. So please be aware of those steps I plan to take. Here, this is important to remember. This is a 12-week class, which on ground, face-to-face, is a 15-week class often. If we were face-to-face, we would be meeting at least 3 to 4 hours a week. In 10-week classes, I meet for 4 hours with students. And that's kind of lecture time or learning time, content time. So that you have to take into consideration when you're assuming how much time you're going to have to spend on this class. You would have to assume about 3 to 4 hours just for ingestion of information, watching screencasts, reading the text, and then there's going to be time for the work you have to do for the class. So this is a commitment. This class is so dense in material. It's like 25 chapters in 12 weeks. That's a lot. I'm not going to, pretend that it's not. And I'm going to give you a lot of information, and what you do with that information, of course, will be up to you, how deeply you decide to dig in. So, and then you have a lot of things that you have to do for me. So just be aware of it. Read through this. Know what's going to be expected and what kind of commitment is going to have to come out of it. So here's a breakdown of your assignments. You have 3 attendance requirements. That's the introduction discussion, syllabus quiz, and first week reflection questions. Please get those done by the due dates to be in attendance for this class. You'll have a couple of just exercises that you'll have to do. This is just a fill-in-the-blank kind of worksheet that you can do. Online quizzes, 1 is dropped. You get 3 chances to do each one and plenty of time to do them, but I have students who forget them all the time. Just know this. Please do not ask me after the close date to reopen a quiz for you. Just don't. Be aware of when they're open, of when they close, and don't forget them. And my ground students often will ask me to reopen the quiz just for them because they worked late. Well, the quizzes are open for about a week each, so or more. So please just be aware and don't ask me to reopen them for you if you forget it. To reflect, I have to, and please know that comes from my goal is to be, 1, to understand that we all have individual lives and stories, but 2, to be fair to the whole. And I can't keep doing that for every student, or it wouldn't be fair to the whole, right? I have to, those are the things I have to do. You will have, so I will go into all of this stuff down here a little bit more. For extra credit, I have Active Minds. I'm the advisor for Active Minds on the Westminster campus. If for some reason you're doing online and campus classes in Westminster and want to attend meetings, you can get some extra credit for them. My dog, excuse me. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Here he goes again. As I said, I also give extra credit for using the Writing Center for writing assignments. 25 points for doing an extra letter, which you'll understand if you keep reading. And 25 points for reading one of these books or any book by any of these authors. So you can read one of these books or any book by any of these authors. Okay, so please read this. A work, very high quality thought, organization, writing, and it goes the extra mile. That's all I'm going to say about that. In this class, you'll be having to do personal practices. You will not have to start doing them until you have watched the stress presentation, which I believe is in week 2. So don't worry about this until you've watched that presentation. In my class, we learn sort of ways to manage stress. We work on that. And so you'll have to do some discussion posts on that. So please read through this, watch that screencast when it comes up, and I do believe you will understand what this is all about. And if you have any questions on it after those 2 steps, you've read the syllabus and you've watched the screencast at the appropriate time. If you have problems understanding the presentation at that, the assignment at that time, then email me and we'll talk about it. And that's not a problem at all. So here are different ideas for personal practices. Journaling, mindful breathing, meditation, prayer, mindful walking. Keep in mind, if you do exercise, you can't do it with an iPod, or it has to be just instrumental music. Again, watch the screencast on that. This will be Making Connections worksheet. It'll be a worksheet full of questions based on some video clips that you watch. Just be aware of the due date on it, 11:59. They must be typed and printed out neatly in complete sentences. Questions must be included. If you watched my other screencast, you know that the theme for this for me is making connections. So you will be using the information from the book and the text and the lectures to connect to a character in a movie. And so I'll be looking for those connections and grading on that. A big part of your grade will be these lifespan reflection letters to self. You'll only have to write 2 of them, but they need to be really good. You are the main character. In these, it's the same thing as the making connections with a movie character, but it's you and your life. How have you developed? So, in this class, you will write 2 letters. At least one must be either from the 0 to 2 or early childhood unit. So when we go through 0 to 2 and you want to write a letter on that, you will have to use the information from the text and the lectures and anything else that, that we're talking about. Use that information, show me that you understand those concepts, and show me how those showed up in your life. So the letter is to 3 to 5 pages. Please keep in mind 2.5 is not 3. Letter is to be written from you taking this class, learning the information, to you at those, and this should say 2, I've just changed it, 2 different stages of life. And your number 1 goal is to make 5 clear connections between your life, your development, and the text. These are some rules for writing the letter. 5 clear overt connections, and here right here is what I grade on. Each connection is worth 20 points, graded on, look at this, little mistakes. 2 things. Do you show me you understand the concept? So if you're writing about attachment, which is a 0 to 2 concept, somehow I need you to use textual terms like insecure avoidant or secure attachment. Show me you know what those are in your own words as you write it to your young self, your 0 to 2 self. Explain it to that 0 to 2 self in a way that I can understand and they could understand. Well, they wouldn't be able to understand, but anyway. And then use specific examples and details from your own life to demonstrate the concept. Show me in action in your life a time that shows that you were securely attached or insecurely avoidant or whatever it may be that you're trying to do. So that is key, that making those connections. Yes, you have all the due dates here for the possible letters, but you're only to do 2. One of them must be from 0 to 2 or early childhood, and one from middle adolescence or emerging adulthood. And there's an example of what I mean. You can read my example. So you will have 2 mini connection papers. You're going to be doing the same exact thing. Early childhood case study. You will do one of these 2. Please read through them. Morality is during middle childhood. And so Kohlberg stages of morality. You will have video clips and you'll make connections between the video clips in those stages. using the specific stage names, and then you will share a moral question of your own. I will give more information on these things when we get there. Weekly discussions, big part of your grade. You will have it's the primary way you interact with your classmates. You will write an original post by Wednesday at 4 p.m. on this. So these are all the original post due dates. You have to do 2 reply posts. They have to be done by this date, both of them. And you will receive an extra credit point if you post on 3 different days. So you're just not doing everything on the same day. So you're taking part in the community so that you're engaged in the conversation, so that you're looking to see what your classmates have to say. There are word count or paragraph count for both original and reply. Please adhere to those. I don't want, I agree, good post. So I'm looking for good thought. And that means a lot. And you know that. Make connections. Here you have weekly assignments. The week that starts on Sundays always. The topic we'll be covering, what reading you would be expected to do, the things you need to do to be considering doing, is all right there. If you still keep going, I've got due dates for the discussion posts, due dates for your quizzes, open dates. All due dates are right there. So that's your syllabus. No, I didn't read it all. I want you to read it and do your quiz. And please email me any questions that you have on it. Looking forward to the semester, and let's just stay in touch. Until next time, have a good one.